This is like take 2 for me, but I probably won't publish all those goof up videos that I made. So I'm starting over on installing my flywheel, clutch, and bell housing because I didn't take the run out measurements when I put them on initially. I'm going to reinstall it now and take those measurements and then get everything installed back in. Got the indexing plate just on there with these dowels. Next I'm going to put on the flywheel. This is always the fun with the flywheel, is these bolt holes only really line up one direction or in one way, so you have to kind of spin it around, get them to line up. And you can see you gotta get that guy to line up, and that one looks like it's off a little bit. Maybe not. I'm gonna throw a couple bolts in there and see how it feels. So now that I'm done playing a fun game of spin the flywheel until the bolt holes line up, I got them lined up. So I'm gonna tighten these down. For the indexing that I'm gonna be doing, I don't necessarily have to have these torqued down, so I can actually just throw a couple bolts in there, get that flat up against the thing, and then do the indexing on the bell housing. I'm probably going to go ahead and just put these bolts in. I don't plan on taking this flywheel back off unless I absolutely have to. The only reason I would have to is if the measurements come out wrong, or I'm over 005 on that bell housing measurement, and I'll have to change one of these dowels. Hoping that's not the case. Man, maybe I'll wait. I won't torque those down yet. Just tight. I don't have them torqued down to spec or anything like that. That way, if I do have to take this thing off, I don't have to pull every single bolt out or anything like that. So next thing is to put the bell housing on, and then they want to put these bolts closest to the dowel pins on in to snug that up and get the right depth on the bell housing. I'm going to throw those in, and probably, well, I definitely am not going to get the measurement tonight because I don't have the plunger style dial gauge on with me. I'm going to have to go get one. So next step, like I said, just throw the bell housing on, put some bolts in, and I'll probably have to call it a night. All right, I got these just finger tight on there. They do want these torqued down to spec because they want the bell housing at the proper depth for the engine and for the measurements. And I'm trying to do this one-handed here. See if I can get a maybe. Closest I've found to anything on what to do for torque on these is anywhere between 25 and 80 or 60 foot-pounds of torque. The best I found, the most reliable thing I found, actually said 50 foot-pounds, so that's what I'm actually set at. Sorry for the distraction. I was trying to get my camera angle good there, but didn't come out great. So you can kind of see, I just torqued down these 4 bolts, 2 on each side. I'm going to go ahead and throw these 2 top ones in just to get everything square and make sure it's good, and put the torque setting on those as well. That's all there is just 6 bolts. So you know, I will have to take it off obviously to put the clutch and everything on, so don't mind doing that just to get everything good. Last 2, and now I need to get the dial gauge, and it's going to go in on the flywheel and measure on this outside ring here Looks like they probably did it at some point just because of this marking here, but that's just a guess. Obviously, it was for a different engine because this is my engine that I had built. And so get this done, make sure my measurements are good. And the other thing I was going to say is that, just totally off subject, one of the things they tell you to do is to test and make sure this transmission will shift into all gears. And to make sure, if it doesn't, they want you to, contact them and send it back. This is Silver Sport transmission again. Kind of a cool tip they gave me in the instructions is that they want you to spin, obviously, your input shaft to get it to shift into gears, but it was stuck. It would not move on for me. So they said, put your clutch plate on there and then move it left and right, and that broke it loose. And I still couldn't shift into gears, so what I did is I actually bolted on the shift lever, and that gave me enough leverage to do both. And everything looks good on that, so I'm excited to be putting it in. So while I'm waiting to get the tool to measure the run out on the bell housing, I am doing the knockout for the hydraulic master cylinder. You can see I got a little bit right there. This knockout. This is going to be the knockout. This is where, well, this is where your steering comes through. This is where your brake master cylinder booster's going to be, and so that's just to the driver's side and below the booster. I started knocking that out. I'm going to have to drill a couple holes as well. And here's that same knockout from the inside. Since I got a little bit on there, I'm just going to pry it open with a screwdriver. Okay, I got the knockout taken out here for the hydraulic master cylinder, and it comes with this little plate, and this I believe is going to go on the inside of the car, but gives us a template to work with. So I put that on there, lined it up and everything, and then use my paint pen to draw those holes. Now I'm gonna drill the holes with my drill, and we should be able to mount that thing. You can see this is the master cylinder here, and here's that plate I used as a template. So a couple notes on this. It does state in the instructions that you want to have the push rod straight as this goes in there. Now it has a stud on the bottom of this, so I can't hold it exactly how it's going to sit, but you can see I'm pretty lined up with those holes. And what I want to do is I take this off, taking that plate off again, and when you line this up right here, you can see it actually follows, they designed it so it follows this bevel on the firewall pretty straight. So if you follow that, you're going to be in pretty good shape. That's what I did when I marked it. So that's just a tip. And then it says 3/8 holes for those the drill. And then what else? There was one other note. Oh, yeah, because I don't have an engine or tranny in my car yet, this is going to be a lot easier for me because I'm sitting in the engine bay. So it might be a little bit more difficult for you. All right, this top one makes me the most nervous because it's the closest to this guy here, which I don't want to mess with, so I got to be careful. I don't have a whole lot of stuff in the way, so I'm going to be able to get pretty straight on this, which I'm happy about. So let me go ahead and drill that out. sharper drill bit than I do. Holy moly, this thing is not going. There we go. There's one. This one is not as straight on, so I'm gonna have to get as straight on as I can here. Let's see what I got in the way here. I'm at a tiny bit of an angle here. Oh, crud scratch. Since this is such thin metal, a little bit of an angle shouldn't make a big difference. I really need a new drill bit. Note to self, buy a new 3/8 drill bit. So now I just got to clean that up, any burrs that might be on there, and see if it fits. So based on that fitting, it's pretty straight. My hole on the top is a little bit high, so I'm gonna have to clean that up a little bit and bring it down. So this is what it looks like installed. You can see I got that pretty straight up there. And then let's look at it on the inside. So from the inside you can see the backing plate there, the 2 bolts top and bottom, and then the push rod, and that's all there is to it, hopefully. Now we need to start hooking up lines. All right, so the reservoir, I mounted it on this plate that they provide. They said you can mount it anywhere on the firewall, inner fender, or the brake master cylinder. And looking at the way everything is, because it's going to be pretty tight in here, we got the hood hinge right here, so if I put it right here, then it'll hit the hood hinge. Gotta be up above the master cylinder here, so I think that the brake master cylinder would be an ideal spot, so I'm gonna hope that something like this will work. So I'm gonna set this aside for now until I get my booster and master cylinder, and then hope that I have some sort of mounting points on the master cylinder, and then the brake master cylinder, and then I can mount this reservoir on there.